Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
What's up, everybody? This is Information Man of the Information Man Show. Welcome to the program today. Thank you for your patience. I know we were supposed to go on a little bit earlier, but we are here. I have Brother Johnny Johnson with me today. He is a financial director. We're going to get into financial fitness, financial wellness, financial education. What is it? What does it mean? How can we engage in financial fitness and wellness for ourselves, for our families, for our future, in retirement, when it comes to folks in our family who pass away? Have we prepared properly? Have we done the proper diligency, such as getting life insurance? Have we gotten ourselves into proper savings? What is our breakdown with our finances? How does it look when you go and you do kitchen table economics and you count your money? What does it look like for you? As you can see right here, what does it look like when you're counting your money, when you're trying to understand savings and to build for your financial future is the most important thing you can do to try to figure out economics in this way. So today is a very important show because, you know, I can talk about a lot of polarizing issues as I have the last few weeks, but really it's about providing information that people can actually use in a tangible way. And Brother Johnny Johnson is going to bring that such knowledge to you. And I hope you take a pen, paper, pad out and write down some of the things that this brother is going to talk about today, because it should be enlightening for you, your family. And I think we should take it serious. So with that said, you know how we do it over here on the Information Man Show. Let's get at it.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Kitchen table economics. That's right, the Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
That's right. Watch it grow.
Tell the truth.
Subscribe.
Tell the truth.
The bell up. That's right. All right, everybody.
Tell the truth.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you. Those that are coming into the show today. This is a very important show, and I want people to definitely, like I said, take out your pencils, your papers, write down your thoughts, and most importantly, we're going to do the best we can. I'm going to do the best I can to put your comments on the screen that you may have for Brother Johnny Johnson, and I'm really happy to have him here. He is my fraternity brother, and I've checked him out on Facebook. And so I'm very happy, and I'm looking forward to all the brothers out there that are going to be watching, because I sent this to a lot of the brothers in all the different Alpha groups. So I want to say greetings to the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We've been around for over 100 years or more, founded in 1906 at Cornell University by 7 prestigious Jews. Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha are always moving onward and upward towards the light. And our founders laid a strong foundation for us in this world. Hell, our organization is partly responsible for Black history. A lot of the great members like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, just a lot of brothers, great brothers, W.E. Du Bois, so many that I can name. And so what we do is we try to uphold that torch, uphold the light, and uphold it high. And so I'm hoping that this brother will bring the thunder for you today. Let me also say shout out to Brother Ben and the BS3 network that I'm a part of.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV. BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts. BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today.
So we're on Roku TV. For those of you who have that particular package at home, definitely check me out through BS3 Network. I'm always live on the network on Sundays. And let's be honest here. Come on over and support, because there's other great personalities on the BS3 network. I mean, they have religious talk over there. They have relationship talk. They have a lot of sports talk, a lot of sports analysis. Brothers and sisters just putting it down and putting it out there, doing a lot of great podcasts. And so I want to give them a clap and thank them. Thank everyone out there who's watching at home on your TV, and those that are watching in Facebook and Twitch and all the other social medias. And I would like to say to everybody in the audience listening, particularly in the Facebook audience, share this video in your community tab. If you are a content creator, share this video in all your social media, because I think that as much as we can talk about what's happening in the news with celebrities and certain personalities, I think it's most important for us to get our financial matters in order, understand how we can do something for ourselves and make our money work for ourselves instead of it working for other people. What better information than that? So with that said, let me bring on Brother Johnny Johnson and give him a big clap coming in here. I'm going to get this clap going, which I think is a better clap. And brother, thank you for being here. I want to say thank you for wanting to come on with me. I noticed you on Facebook. You were giving out some real gems when it comes to financial wellness and fitness. And so I want to hear, we want to hear everything you've got to offer people in terms of that kind of empowerment economically. I want to say thank you. You're my frat brother. I am celebrating, I think on Friday, I made 33 years in the fraternity, which I'm very proud of. Joined when I was 19 years old. And it has always been a big part of my life, because there's nothing like having a brotherhood with Black men who are out here doing the work at ground level and upholding scholarship, manly deeds, love for all mankind, as well as womankind, and building our community and sending our kids to college, scholarships, mentorship, all the things that the organization is about. So I just want to say thank you, brother, again.
Absolutely. Thank you as well for having me.
Okay, I appreciate you being here. Where do we go? Where do we start? Let's let everybody know your credentials, your background. How did you get into the area of finances, that particular career, your educational background, maybe some of the programs that you are involved in, and let's take it from there as we get ready to unfold all of this towards giving people tips that they can implement right now. So go right ahead.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, brother Information Man, I do just want to, humbly appreciate you for allowing me to be in your space. I know you got some great things going on with your content here on the Information Man show, and a lot of things that obviously can empower everybody that you come in contact with, whether they're viewing this live or whether they watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning because they couldn't sleep. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to bless this platform with my energy this afternoon.
Most
So,
definitely.
myself, obviously, Mr. Johnny Johnson, born and raised right here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm physically in Chicago, Illinois right now. And I kind of took the traditional route. I was always into associating myself with positive people. I've been involved in extracurricular activities since I was 5 years old, primarily baseball, and being in the midst of baseball and just organizations from a team standpoint taught me a lot about life, unbeknownst to me at that young age, right?
Hmm.
So I'm my mother's only child. I got two older sisters, and at the end of the day, it was about what it is that I wanted to do and what it is that I want to create. I would consider myself a very unique person. I started doing some things that the average young people may not be doing when they're children, but that's because of the way that I was brought up, the installation that my mom and my dad and my aunties and uncles gave me, and just who they wanted me to be holistically and wholeheartedly. And so fast forward, I end up going to high school at the illustrious Chicago Vocational High School. Some of you all may be familiar with it. More reputable names these particular days would be Juwan Howard, who's the head basketball coach at the University of Michigan, former NBA superstar. He was a standout at Chicago Vocational. Marvin Freeman was a Major League Baseball player, played on quite a different few teams, the Rockies, the Atlanta Braves. Lou Collier was a baseball player as well. Chris George, who used to play for the Bears
Yes.
back in the late '90s, he was a graduate of Chicago Vocational, and also Dick Butkus back in the
Dig buckets.
back in the '50s, right? So if you're a football player and you know about the Monsters of the Midway and the Chicago Bears, obviously Dick Butkus' names ring bells. So he attended, and last but certainly not least, one of our all time favorites, and if you like comedy, you'll know who this person is, Bernie Mac.
Right. From
Bernie Mac,
Chicago.
absolutely. Bernie Mac attended my high school in the late '70s, and so at the end of the day, I like to say, I'm standing on top of these men and women's shoulders, coming through the process, and just really creating a lane for myself and being able to provide what I've been shared with and instilled over a period of years to the people that I'm now coming in contact with on a daily, weekly, monthly, and also annual basis. And so while at CVS, I played baseball primarily. Once again, I was a sports guy. And so when I graduated from Chicago Vocational, or if you're from Chicago watching this, CVS, I didn't really have a plan going to college. Yes, I wanted to go to college, and my whole goal was to play baseball. That was my thing, right? And I figured, hey, if I can go to college and improve my skill set from a baseball standpoint, maybe one day I can possibly play for my favorite team, which is the Chicago White Sox.
Yes.
Lo and behold, that didn't happen, but I still went through a process that kind of shaped who I am as I sit in front of you all this afternoon. So,
Okay.
coming from CVS, going to Shaw University, which is one of the oldest HBCUs in the South, located in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Wow.
I embarked on my journey of manhood, if you will, right? And so going to Shaw University, obviously I went there to play baseball, But lo and behold, that actually didn't happen. I never played an inning of baseball when I was at the school, but I was not going to let that deter me from God in a nutshell drawing me to that school, because guess what? I didn't find out about Shaw University, the name of the school, where it was located, until April of my senior year. So I graduated June of 2001. In April of 2001, I found out where Shaw University was, what they had to offer, and that was through one of my childhood friends. His name is Brandon. We played baseball together, and we happened to be playing against each other at that particular day. And I asked him before the game, what college was he attending? He said Shaw University, full baseball scholarship. And he gave me the information. His dad was Chicago Police Department, part-time security guard at the time, but he worked part-time at my high school. So I saw his dad every day. So got the information to me. I filled the information out, sent it in. About 3 weeks later, like early to mid-May of 2001, I found out that I'm accepted. And at that point, it was like first come, first go, right? Keep in mind, I didn't have a plan. I'm going to come back to that as we continue the conversation. Right? So then I go to Shaw University August of 2001. And obviously, I do what it is that I need to do, enroll everything, etc. And then obviously, we remember what happened on September 11, 2001. The towers get blown up.
Yeah.
So I'm literally in the middle of campus, and I'm just seeing people coming from the dorms, going to the chapel because they're getting the devastating news. They're watching it on TV that planes have just flew into the Twin Towers. And we know what that story looked like afterwards, right?
Right.
So because obviously I didn't play baseball at the school, now I got to figure out what am I going to major in, because my thought process was go to college, get some skills, hopefully make it to the major league system, if you will. But because that didn't pan out, my freshman year, I changed my major 3 times. So you would probably be inquisitive to be like, well, if you're going to college, why did you change your major 3 times? Well, keep in mind, I didn't have a plan outside of my general goal, which was to go and play baseball. Whether I went to Shaw University or any other college or university in the country, the goal was to go there and play baseball. I'll figure out what I'm going to study as I go along. Obviously, that's not something that I would ever educate a young person or parents of a young person that's looking to go to college to ever do. Because why? It's all about being proactive. And I'm not saying that I wasn't proactive then, but I wasn't proactive then as I am now, if that makes sense. Right?
Definitely makes a lot of sense. Let me just step in right here. Everybody in the chat room, thank you for being here. I see we got Brother Rob, who's actually from Chi-Town as well. He's an educator in the school system in Chicago. We got my man right here. Let me put this is Rob right here on the screen. He's been an educator in Chicago for years. Good brother here. This is Point Blank Travel. He's also a brother who also has some financial expertise as well. He talks about credit cards and how you can maximize the rewards from credit cards and make them work for you instead of them working against you. And he has a channel. He talks finance as well. He's a good brother. I interviewed him some time back. We've got Joel on here from the sector. Thank you, sister, for coming over. We got the Empress Queen is in the house. We got Back to the Basics. Let me give all my love to Back to the Basics and everything like that. I hope you're all well. We hope everything is well. I know you've had some personal things that have happened, but I just want to say that my prayers goes out to you and your family. We've got Brother East, Dad in the house. Thank you for being here. Let me just give you guys some claps here and appreciate you all for coming in. Who else do we have here? We got Brooklyn is in the house. We got Indian Exposed Investigations in the house. Beverly Palmer is in the house. And Sir Obey is in the house. And Sister Arnabo is in the house. Nordstrom is in the house. Just a lot of great people. Red Squid is in the house. Thank you for being here, Squid X, and everybody. So periodically I will shout people out. Let's get the information, though. That's very important. And see, this is what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. Something that's important is this. We should have more people come out. Now, if I'm doing a more polarizing topic, then this is what our people, no matter what race you are, but in particularly talking to my audience out there, black folks, this is information that we need that he's going to talk about. But let me go on and let Brother Johnny Johnson continue with where he was at. Go ahead, brother.
Absolutely. So kind of picking back where I left off at, being at Shaw University freshman year, changed my major 3 times that particular year, right? So obviously you're thinking, okay, well, why am I changing my major 3 times? Well, obviously it goes back to the lack of having a plan to go to and through college, right? So I start off with criminal justice, and then I'm thinking to myself, I don't really like law. I don't like politics, although I need to follow it as a black man in the United States of America. But I removed myself from that major. Then I
Mm-hmm.
picked up recreation. But then I thought to myself, well, as a serious fallback, if nothing else pans out, I can always be a gym teacher just with a degree,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whatever major it is.
Right.
So I had a public speaking class my freshman year, right? And public speaking was one of my biggest fears going into college. Now, granted, if I knew you, if you was my friend, if I talked to you regularly, me talking to you would be no problem. I had no qualms about it whatsoever. But being in a room with 20, 50, 100, 300, 500, 1,000 plus people at that time in my young life, I would have peed my pants. I'm just
Mm.
being direct, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
was something that I had to learn. But being in this public speaking class actually unlocked a gift that I didn't know was already inside of me that needed to come out, right? So I'm in my public speaking class, and she gave us an assignment that because it was a once a week class,
Mm-hmm.
and she said the assignment is for everybody to individually talk for 5 to 7 minutes about where they're from and why they decided to come to Shaw University, right? So I'm like, I'm kind of like, I don't really know how this gonna go, but I'm just gonna take it head on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she also gave us this to think about, right? Because keep in mind, we're all freshmen, we're all embarking on the next phase of our life. She asked everybody this question in the classroom. There's about 25 of us. And she said, class, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't answer it now, but just think about it, right? She said, if you can do something for the rest of your life and not get paid to do it, what would that be? So I thought about that, and obviously I mulled on it, and I obviously answered that information the next following week. But what that question did for me, for my internal world, was opened up a whole world. Because keep in mind, I just stated I changed my major 3 times in my freshman year, right? So my last major was actually communications because when she asked us that question, and I went back to my dorm room and I started writing down what I like to do and what I can see myself doing and not get paid to do, it had everything to do with entertainment, sports, music, etc. Thus, communications. And because communications is so broad as far as the actual major and a topic, it can be tackled in a lot of different ways. But unbeknownst to me, her asking me that question and giving me that assignment gave me the body armor I needed to move forward in my life and understand that everybody, regardless of race, religion, creed, orientation, etc., needs to have some type of comfortabilization with public speaking, right? Because it's a fear for a lot of people, not just for me or for you or for whoever it was back then. So being comfortable with talking in front of people that you don't know about topics that you may or may not have a large amount of information about is something that we should all get comfortable with doing, right? So I obviously got an A on the assignment because the teacher also gave us some information about things that we can do to avoid our pitfalls of public speaking. So I took her advice, got an A, but that changed my major to communications. And then obviously, fast forward, I got my degree in communications and I graduated from Shaw University May 13th, 2006. Now, at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do outside of being a radio personality. So I come back to Chicago, where I'm originally from, and I knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that got me a brief internship with WGCI, which is one of the best radio stations in the Chicagoland area for urban listening, if you will. So after that was over with, I started working, right? Sales marketing. Because when I was at Shaw, I found out that just in my business studies and also slightly working with our radio station, I found out that sales and marketing were the 2 biggest components of a business. I'm going to say that again. Sales and marketing are the 2 biggest components of any business. You may ask
Mm.
yourself, why is that? Well, without sales, there's no money that's being generated for that business, generally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
right? But without marketing, who knows what your product or service is or does if you don't tell anybody about it?
Right.
So when you combine those two, you need the marketing to generate the sales. Because
Right.
if you tell somebody who you are, what you do, you may come in contact with somebody that needs what you do and find out a little bit more about who you are. Because everybody is distributing a product or service. It doesn't matter what platform it is, it doesn't matter what arena it is. You either are offering a product or a service. Obviously, information man, you're offering a service, you're offering information, right? But it
Right.
also could be looked at as a product as well.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, it's a service because we're here on a Sunday afternoon and we're sharing valid and pertinent information with people that we definitely know that they need and that they really
Mm-hmm.
want, but may not have the access to it like directly.
So you went into marketing and sales.
Absolutely.
How did that eventually lead you? Because what I think people, when you basically said it right there, what led you into being a financial director, someone that can give this kind of info? Because I think that the audience, they're going to be hungry for that aspect of this. So when you went into sales, because you said marketing and sales, all of that goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. They overlap.
Yeah.
So from there, let's let folks know from there, how did you transition
Yeah.
to the financial part of this?
Completely understood. So while working in sales and marketing, I've had obviously plenty of, I've been working since I was 15. So I know how to work. It's just following duties and responsibilities from a general standpoint. But after high school, excuse me, after college and after the brief internship with GCI, started working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? I had 75,000 of student loan debt that at that point Sally Mae started corresponding with me. Hey, Mr. Johnson, we know you got a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Great for you, but because we helped you get that degree, we need some of
Mm-hmm.
our money back
Mm-hmm.
ASAP,
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
right?
Yeah.
So I know I'm not alone in that because there's lots of college graduates that had to pay back massive amounts of money and may not have even worked in their career or worked in their endeavor that they got their degree in,
Right.
right? So working in sales and marketing, it was really about learning certain skill sets, and you've heard the term skills pay the bills, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, indeed.
young people coming out of high school, a lot of them, generally speaking, may not want to go to college or what have you. They may want to wait a while. I have no problems with that because I don't like positioning people to waste money, right? But at the end of the day, skills need to be cultivated, right? So if you got certain skills are in demand in certain industries and certain arenas. And because I know there's always going to be a sales or a marketing opportunity open, that was why I transitioned from being in radio broadcasting into sales and marketing because it's
Mm-hmm.
always in demand. It's
Always in demand.
always something that needs to be provided to somebody else at some cost or just information that needs to be given. Now, because I am who I am and I'm a sponge, I love to learn, I love to help people, I love to share information. That's how I actually got into the financial industry from a back end side. But the front end side of me getting into the financial industry while working my last 9 to 5 job from a W 2 standpoint, my dad unexpectedly passed away, right?
Mm.
So he passed away December 30th, 2010. At that time, I was working at Cricket, the cell phone company. You all may be familiar with it. You may still have a
Yeah.
phone with them or something to that effect. But they came to Chicago February 2nd of 2009 to be exact. So I started working with them. But on December 30th, 2010 was the day that I got a phone call from my cousin here in Chicago that my dad been rushed to the hospital and I needed to get there ASAP. So when I get there, they tell me my dad is gone. And then they like, okay, well, what are you going to do with the body? Now, let me say this by saying this. I hadn't saw my dad in probably 12 to 18 months prior to, because because I'm a grown man. I got a young son at the time. I'm just working and doing what I need to do to take care of myself and my son. Nothing toward my dad. We just hadn't seen each other in a while, right? So the day my dad passes away and I'm at the hospital and they're asking, what are we going to do with the body? The first thing that comes to my mind is what? Well, man, I know he had a life insurance policy, right? So it's like, well, we need to figure that out. Lo and behold, he didn't, though.
And that's a problem for some of us out there where we get caught up in a situation where our family members don't have life insurance. And this is why we need to prepare always. But continue on, brother.
Absolutely. So when I found that out, I was so devastated that it was like, well, okay, we got to figure out something, right? So we made some things happen. At that time, I didn't even know what a GoFundMe page was. I didn't find out what a GoFundMe page was until maybe 2013, 2014. But this is right before New Year's 2011. This is the end of 2010. So I got into the financial industry kind of as a default because of my dad passing away and him not having life insurance and me wanting to position myself as a man of service to be able to give some information to somebody so that they can prevent them from feeling the way I felt when I lost my dad. Right. And that happens on a regular basis, whether we believe it or not. And it has a lot to do with the lack of communication about certain topics like what we're talking about this afternoon,
Right.
primarily
But
financial literacy.
right. And I think that's especially for the black community, we need more financial literacy. And obviously, like the brother said, he found himself in a situation where his dad passed away. There was no life insurance. And so that kind of puts your back against the wall to figure out a way out of this situation, which led you into the area of finances. This is why, folks, this is very important stream today, because I bet you there's some people that are listening to this right now out there, maybe some folks in the chat room who maybe their family members may not have some form of life insurance. And if you are a father, mother, whoever, you need to have life insurance. I have life insurance policy for my child. Her mother has it as well. This is something that we've got to deal with and take in as a reality that we have to deal with. So continue on, Brother Johnny Johnson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So while still working my full-time job, W-2, I obviously went through the process of getting a license because I'm going to just be honest with you. People can look at information like from your show or just other YouTube clips and formalize some form of an opinion and go out and share that information. But unless you have a license, unless you've been trained, unless you understand how to help people get from A to Z and everywhere in between, then it's kind of hard for people to really get to where they're trying to go. And I know there's a lot of
Right.
people that like to get information and share it, and I applaud that. But at the end of the day, in our industry, from a financial standpoint, you have to be licensed. You have to have certain certifications depending on what your field of expertise is. And obviously, that's how I started the process. And initially, it was really about, once again, helping people not feel the way I felt when I lost my dad. And it was initially about life insurance. Now, when my dad passed away, did I know about life insurance? Sure, I did. I knew of what it is from a general standpoint. 9, 10 years later, me sitting this afternoon talking with you all and everybody in the country and the world, if you will, obviously I know way more now than I did then because I've had some experiences and I've done what I needed to do to get to where I am today. But why am I saying that? Well, it doesn't matter if you have very little knowledge or a whole lot of knowledge. At the end of the day, it's about action, right? So at the end of the day, we're all born. At some point, we are going to die. We just don't know what that date is going to be. And we hope it's much later rather than sooner, right?
Right.
Regardless whether it is later or sooner, if you're 15 days old, 2 weeks old, would have just got your social security number, baby girl, baby boy, or you're 85 years old, you're well into your retirement, you got grandchildren, you got great grandchildren probably, or anywhere in between, Guess what? You can get a life insurance policy. Now the question is, what kind of life insurance do you need? What
Hmm.
kind of life insurance is most suitable for you? What life insurance is most affordable to you? And that's only from a life insurance death benefit standpoint, meaning if you die unexpectedly, what do you leave to your children? What do you leave to your spouse?
Facts.
What do you leave to your loved ones that depend on you financially? If you're in business, if you and your homeboy, your homegirl are in business together, and you all are 50-50 partners, if you die, what happens to the other part of the business if you're now dead? It's called life insurance. And life insurance is a plan that everybody needs, regardless of whom or what. So if we unexpectedly check out of here sooner rather than later, our family is not devastated financially. And even though they can't physically bring you back, that money can possibly calm them down for a period of time while they're in their grieving process for the person that just passed away in their family.
Right. Let me read what Points Blank Travel stated, and you made really good points, brother. He says, "Info man, I hear so many people talking about generational wealth. However, we need to first understand personal wealth from a knowledge standpoint. Knowledge will create generational wealth, and that goes back to had you had the knowledge ahead of time, you would have been your father, those in your family, you would have been prepared from the get go. Like, for example, I have a mother, and my father's back east. He's got policies, and I've been trying to tell my mom that I need her to create a transcript, a written breakdown, because we want to get this notarized. We want to get a living will, the whole nine yard. But I'm trying to get her to write stuff down, because if something was to happen, and my mom comes from that generation of baby boomers where they hide stuff in the house like a damn treasure map, okay? Under the damn ceiling, in the walls, under the rugs. And I don't want to be in a situation where I'm trying to figure out where is what, because, older people have a back history of hiding their stuff, right? There was a time in this country where, and people laughed at this, but I understood why this was. A lot of black people and other older people from that generation, older generation, they would save their money and leave it in the house, maybe in the mattress under the bed or something of that nature. Because remember, there was a time in this country when black people lost their money when they had money in banks, and the banks had gotten shut down during the Great Depression or whatever that happened, and black people lost money. So that was one of the reasons why they did not trust the banking institution. And so those older generations, they hold on to the stash the money, stash the valuables over here and there. But that's all fine and dandy, but you got to also let your family members know the treasure map to find this stuff. So this is why we need to tell our family members, people in the chat room, if you got a family member that's like this, you need to have them show you where things are hidden. You need to have them write stuff down in terms of what they want you to do if something was to happen to them. Continue on, brother, because this is very important. And I want you to make the connection behind what you're saying now with what we need to do as young people, middle-aged people, whatever our age is. What is it that we need to be doing and what we need to be learning? Let me say shout out to some chick named Star. We've got Jay Sean in the house. We've got This Beach is Better. We got a couple of sisters in the chat room that are AKA. She's an AKA. Bella, Brown Girl Bella is an AKA. This brother here, Mr. Johnny Johnson, is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, my fraternity brother. And we're talking about financial wellness. He's trying to give you his backstory that led him to being more financially, mentally more sound in his mind as to what we need to do. So continue on, brother.
Absolutely. And just before I continue, definitely want to shout out all of the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, specifically Xi Lambda chapter here in Chicago, and all of the brothers across the country and across the world, and also everybody in the Divine Nine family in regards to fraternities and sororities. So I just wanted to make that shout out.
Okay.
But picking up where I left off, at the end of the day, we are all creatures of habit, right?
Yes.
So what does that mean? Well, if a young man or a young woman has grown up and now they're adults, if they know how to cook now, let's say that they're around my age, like I'm 38, right?
Yes,
If
sir.
if they're around my age and they know how to cook, there's a strong possibility that they learn how to cook when they were in elementary school or high school, right? Now let's look at finances. If their finances are not in order or at least trending in that direction now in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever age they may be as an adult, there's a strong correlation or possibility that's because they just were exposed to it in their younger years.
Facts.
Because we're all creatures of habit, we know what to do is if we keep doing it, right? But we have to get exposed to it first. So when we get together, when I say we, I'm talking the African American family, the black family, it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. Generally speaking, when you get together with your cousins and your aunties and your uncles and your grandparents and your mom and your dad and your in-laws, we talk about everything else under the sun. I give you 5 topics off the top of my head right now. Ukraine, gas prices, the up and down of the stock market, the coronavirus, and just everything that's going on in the general news, right? Senseless violence, etc.
Yes.
So when we get together as a community of families across the country, we have those conversations. But guess what? What does that information that we're sharing do if somebody unexpectedly passes away that we love and care about that didn't have a policy? Nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
So really what it comes down to, let's have the important conversations first, get that out the way, get everybody on the same page with it, and then once things are put in motion from an action standpoint, then we can talk about everything else under the sun. Because we know how to do that. We're very communicative. It doesn't matter where you come from in the country, whether you're in California, Chicago, Florida, New York, DC area, Texas, it doesn't matter. But let's take care of the important stuff first. Life insurance is important. If you die and you're a man and you got a son or a daughter, or you got a spouse, or you got all three, if you die and you got no life insurance, what do you leave them?
You can't leave them anything. Nothing from nothing gets you nothing.
And life insurance is really just a foundational part of what we call in the financial world your personal financial house. So everybody is at some point is in some type of structure, but every structure has a foundation. From a financial standpoint, life insurance is part of the foundation of building our financial house. So you
Okay.
so you just talked about the brother that mentioned about generational wealth. Well, everybody throws around the terminology of generational wealth. But what does that really mean? Well, if you Google generational wealth right now, you can do it if you wanted to. In a nutshell, it's going to say this: assets that are left to children and grandchildren. In a nutshell,
You're right.
right? So now the question is, well, okay, I get what you're saying, but now let's break it down even further. Well, what is an asset? An asset is something that provides us economic value at some point, either directly right now or sometime in the future. So, in a nutshell, assets brings us money. So, one asset that we need to have in our foundation of our financial house is life insurance, right? And there's plenty of life insurance out there. Obviously, I do that for a living on a day in and day out basis as far as customizing strategies from a life insurance standpoint that people can not only have when they die unexpectedly, part of the generational wealth fund, if you will, but
Yes.
also they can use it while they're living, right?
Right.
So, generational wealth, life insurance. If you don't have it, let's get together. Let's have a conversation about it.
Well, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
You are a financial director.
Yes, sir. So, in a nutshell, what
So,
that means is that's the position that I have with the brokerage that I work with, because I'm an entrepreneur, right?
okay.
So, financial fitness director with FinFit Life. That's my business title for that particular entity that I'm partnered with.
Okay. So let's say, for example, let's say Back to the Basics or Brother Man or some of the folks, Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. Let's say someone like some chick named Star or Point Blank Travel, all the great folks that are in the chat room, Eastad. Let's say they were walking in your door and they were in need of your services.
Right.
What would be the first thing that you would do or they would experience in walking into your office or your place of business?
Absolutely. That's a great question, because that's something that people need to know, right? So when you come in contact with me, it's about, number one, us understanding each other, right? Understanding where I'm coming from, and I definitely need to understand where you're coming from as a potential client. Now, at this point, we haven't done any business, so we don't know each other from doing business yet. So the initial communication that we're going to have is really just about us understanding where each other is coming from and what it is that we're looking to accomplish. So I know a lot of people in my industry, and this is no disrespect to them, but there's a lot of people in our industry that are only just there to distribute a product to somebody.
Okay.
Right?
Just to give them a product, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Now, how do you separate yourself from just giving people products?
Well, at the end of the day, because I'm somebody's client and customer, when I'm not doing what I'm doing with my clients, if you will, I treat them the same way. So the same information I would want to receive as somebody's client or customer is the same information that I give to my clients, right? So I don't treat them as a number. I treat them as a name, and I'm building a business relationship with you, because as we start this journey of me helping you improve your financial portfolio and adding things to it and adjusting your plan along the way, we building a relationship. There's communication that's involved. But if I was only just in it just to sell you a policy, could I do that? Yeah. But I would be doing you a disservice directly, and I would be doing myself a disservice, because this is a business that I'm in. I'm not just in it for transactions, if that makes sense.
Okay. Can we do this right here? We got Dr. Amaya. She says this, and I'm glad to see you here, sister. It's been a minute since I've seen you. We've been on panels together. I want to thank you for coming over. She says, can you explain the ABT putting things in two end states and not in your own name? Also, if a lawyer does it, can they put into their name? If a lawyer does it, can a lawyer put it in their name? So can you answer that question that sister is bringing up?
I'll attempt to. That's not directly my expertise, but I kind of understand what she's saying. In a nutshell is this, which is kind of piggybacking on what I was talking about. Within your foundation of your financial house, right? You got life insurance, right? And then you also have, hopefully you got an emergency fund for emergencies, right?
Yes.
But then you also need to have that estate plan, which is consistent of a living will. And a living will is just basically an itemized list of assets that you want to leave to whoever you want to leave it to, right?
Right.
But then you also have trusts, right? And the trust can be in the form of your estate, and you can have all of those things in your will and in your trust. So when that person passes away, it all gets disseminated to whoever it needs to get disseminated to, without having to go through probate and reducing or eliminate the tax liabilities for those assets to transfer over to whoever that may be receiving it.
Well, let me say this, because we believe in giving that information out. If that isn't an area that's your expertise, who would you advise the sister to talk to related to her question? If you're familiar, who would be the person that she should talk to?
Got you. So I do have. It's not just me. I'm not a one-man band. I do have a team. So I have strong expertise in a lot of different areas, but the estate planning aspect, that's not directly me. However, I have business partners that work with me on a regular basis that can be able to answer that question directly and provide you with some information that can let you know exactly what that looks like.
So this is what we're going to do. And I hope, and sister, even if you can't watch the whole video today, the whole stream, come back to this stream, because what we'll do is maybe we can put your contact, if you are comfortable with that, your contact information in the description of this video, where she could come back, maybe call to talk to the person that's a part of your team that would be most expert in this area. Now, to clarify to everyone as it relates to financial fitness, and I think we need to clarify this, what is particularly within this, that term, that title, what would be primarily your expertise? Is it primarily the retirement plan, the retirement aspect? Let's remind people of that so that everyone knows where we are today.
Got you. So my specific expertise are generational wealth life insurance. Once again, 15 days old at the youngest, 85 years old at the oldest, anywhere in between. Obviously, as long as you qualify for it, we can help you put that in place, right?
Okay.
Also, tax-free supplemental retirement planning. So you may ask yourself, well, what does that look like? Well, most people that work a job, they get offered a 401k, right? That 401k is what they call a tax later or a tax deferred vehicle. So in layman's terms, that means as you're saving and investing your money every pay period, it goes into the fund called a 401k, which in a nutshell is just diversified portfolio of mutual funds. When the market goes up, your account value grows. When the market goes negative, you also lose that same amount that goes negative. But from a tax standpoint, when you get ready to retire, that's when you want to start using your 401k. But because you didn't pay any taxes along the way, and that's the way Uncle Sam set it up, he's going to take taxes on the harvest as opposed to the seeds of your account, right? So
Yes,
where I
sir.
come in at from an expertise standpoint is to say, hey, if you have a certain amount of money that you want to have at a certain age of retirement, so let's say you want to retire at 65, and let's say you want to have $1 million of money at that time minimally. Well, a part of it is going to come from what I'm going to help you out with, but that part is also going to be tax free. So when you talk about tax liability, we don't know what that may be when we become adults and obviously get to that point where we're retiring. We don't know what our tax bracket is going to be. We don't know what the tax range is going to be at that time, right? So we
Right.
want to eliminate that liability altogether. What is a liability? Things that cost you money, right? So we want to eliminate the tax liability, and obviously I show people how to do that from a supplemental tax-free retirement standpoint, right? And then also college planning, right? So it has everything to do with a plan. What's your plan to accomplish what you're trying to do?
Okay.
So from a college planning standpoint, your son, your daughter want to go to college. Great for them. What's their plan? You kind of heard me talk earlier about me not having a plan. So now, because I know that I didn't have a plan, now my 9+ years of financial experience, licensed, trained, developed the whole 9 yards, I can educate a student as well as their parents to help them have a plan. So when that student goes to whatever college he or she decides they want to go to, they get very little to no debt, because the school that they're going to is paying the bulk of their cost of education, right? They also
Right.
get money saved, that most students generally graduate with a lot of debt and no money saved. I'm showing them how to have some money saved over a period of years. So when they graduate, at the very least with a bachelor's degree, they can have some money to start life off with, right?
Okay.
And then in that same token, I'm also showing the parents how to get more money in their FAFSA, financial application for free student assistance,
Okay.
right? That's something that everybody needs to fill out if their son or daughter is going to and through college.
Okay. Let me, because people are asking questions about stuff. So we have my man here, Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor. He has a question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I'm going to read it to you. He says, can you also talk about how 401k plans out period, certain AKA dudes retire at 65 with 120,000, 12,000 a year for 10 years before tax, At 75, he's working at Walmart again.
I definitely understand where he's coming from. Think about it like this, right? And once again, this is everything that I'm just being very transparent, and I'm
Yes,
always
definitely. We want that over here. We want the truth on the Information
Tell
Man
the
Show.
truth.
I'm always talking apples to apples.
Okay.
So when you get your job, right? It doesn't matter if you got a current job or this was you previous before you became an entrepreneur. If your job offered you a 401k, there's two questions that they probably have never asked you. Number one, Mr. or Mrs. Employee, we're offering you this 401k. What age would you like to retire? You've never heard anybody offer you a 401k ask you that question.
You know what? I remember I had a job because where I'm at now, I have a pension plan, but I've had 401ks as well. I've opened up that, and I cannot remember them ever saying, when would you like to retire? The focus was more in, well, get your money in, get your money in. You know, the focus was more in getting me to get my money into the system, but they never offered what you just said here. That is very true.
Absolutely. So that's the first question. What age would you like to retire? Second question, how much money would you like to have at that age when you retire? So
Wow. They don't ask that question.
Exactly. So think about it like this. If a 401k is a retirement vehicle, but they don't ask you what age you want to retire and how much money minimally you want to have at that time, now it's making you scratch your head. Well, why do they offer it to me? You just said it, sir, Mr. Information Man yourself. You just said they just want me to put my money in the vehicle.
Right.
Because
But they're not telling me they want me to put that money in that vehicle. They want to drive that vehicle off, but they don't tell me how much I'm gonna get out. What am I gonna get out of that vehicle when I'm ready to cash out?
See, think about it like this. You're either an employee or you're an entrepreneur.
Two different things, right?
Right. Some people straddle the fence if they could, but at the end of the day, you got to choose one or the other. So when you work at a job, and this is for everybody that is employed with jobs, and just please take this in the humblest of ways, right? When you work your job, your employer looks at you as an asset because you're bringing that job or that business money. So they do what? They offer you things to retain you. Medical, dental, vision, life insurance, maybe 401k, etc. And they may have a couple of other benefits. And guess what? Who pays for it? You do.
Yeah, you paying for it.
On your direct deposit, you got an itemized list of things. Obviously, taxes get taken out first, federal and state, and then whatever benefit you have with that employer gets taken out at a small amount every time you get paid, right? But to the brother's point, okay, well, a 401k is offered to for-profit businesses. So if a business has 1,000 employees, they just want to offer it to you because they know at the very least probably half of the employees are going to take advantage of it. Because why? What we've been exposed to. Remember I said earlier, creatures of habit. Where if your mom and your dad and your grandparents got 401ks back in the day when they were working and maybe they're in retirement now, they did what? They just told you about the 401k they had, generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
So now you go into your job and you do what? You follow suit, creature of habit. But you don't know what questions to ask your HR person that's offering you this 401k. That's where the financial literacy comes from. That's what myself, my team, my company, my organization, that's what we provide to the people, whether they make $30,000 a year or $30,000 a day.
Okay. Let me, because people got questions in there. Let me see what Simone B is saying. Aren't those calculators on the website of a brokerage company where the money is housed?
Possibly. It depends. It varies per entity at the end of the day, right?
Okay.
But you got to think about this, right? A 401k is really a tax destination, right? A 401k is not the actual vehicle the money is going in. We talking financial literacy, right? I'm way woke right now. And just follow my train of thought. 401 Section K, IRS tax code. Now, I'm not a tax person, and I just want to make that as a disclaimer, but I do know what I know, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day, the 401k is a section of the IRS tax code, which is based on how that qualified plan money is being taxed. But the actual vehicles that your money is going into are mutual funds and different stocks with different companies, right? So let's say you got a 401k. That when you get your 401k package and you sign off on everything, they're asking you, do you want to be conservative, aggressive, or moderate? And how your money is growing. So based on what you tell them from that scenario is based on how they're going to look at the mutual funds that they're going to invest your money every time your pay period comes about in your 401k.
Mm-hmm.
And when the market goes up in those mutual funds, your actual account gets credited that interest. And when the market goes negative, like it did in 2008, when people was committing suicide and jumping off buildings because the market was almost negative 40%, meaning people just lost almost 40% of their 401ks and other vehicles in that scenario. Now the question is, well, why? Right? Or why didn't somebody tell me this could happen? Because imagine this. Imagine you having $500,000 at the beginning of 2008 in your 401k. And you thought to yourself, hey, look, next February, the next following year, I'm going to retire. Everything is good. $500,000 then may have been good for that person. But then 08 happens, the mortgage crisis happens, i.e. what we call the Great Recession, if you will. Now the market is roughly negative 40%. So a simple math term, 5 times 4 is what? 20. So that means in your 401k, i.e. mutual fund investment, you just lost $200,000 that same year. Now, next February comes about. You can't retire because you just lost $200,000 in your 401k. So that does what? That creates a spinoff cycle. Now you got to work longer than you need to.
Well,
and et cetera. Obviously, I can go on and on about
I remember, I'll give you a case in point. When we went through a really bad recession in this country between, 2008 or 9, somewhere in there, you remember?
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who had retired prior and they lost so much money in their 401k plans, and economics were changing in the country. As we see right now, we have high inflation. You're seeing how the price of gasoline is impacting people in this society. A lot of those people, I remember, even where I'm at, people coming back to work who were in retirement, or they had to come back to work, or they had to work more hours, because there's people who retire and they might want to work a job where they work 2 days, 3 days, something real easy, something that they enjoy doing. But then they find themselves saying, you know what, I can't make it. I got to go back to work or work more. That hurt a lot of people back in the 2009 particular period of time, where people lost a lot of money. Now, I go all the way back to the .com days when everybody was making fast money in the .com industry, and people began to lose their shirts when the .com industry started to evaporate. And the business went out of business. And then a lot of people who were living in lofts and buying fast cars, they had to sell those cars back, give them back, do whatever they had to sell off stuff. And they ended up moving back in with their family members. That's the reason why, and I don't want to get us off topic here, that's the reason why, even though people are getting excited about Bitcoin, that's why I take a conservative approach to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin to me is exactly what the .com industry was back in the 90s, where people were making fast money. People were doing day trading, talking about they knew what they were doing, don't worry, and then they lost their shirts. So that's why I take a very conservative approach when it comes to any new financial mechanism that we have in society, right? Now, isn't it fun? Let me just say this to you, brother Johnny Johnson. I find it interesting how people are very excited about either Bitcoin or they talk about, investing in this and that, but you see very little people talking about retirement. You see very little pop in circumstance around the issue of making sure you take some of this money and put it in a life insurance and policy. You don't hear the same
Energy.
energy and hype over that. The hype is always over get what you can now. And let me say thank you to brother Alonzo, All-Star Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, saying, can you speak about accredited investors and risk tolerance? Thank you for that super chat, brother. I want to appreciate that.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. And let me see, someone else super chatted me as well. Let me say peace to Natural. We got Empress Kia in the house. Simone B. Tiffany is here. I don't know if Tiffany is still in the chat room, but she came over to pay some love to the channel, which I appreciate her coming over. I appreciate everybody's. We got Dictator in the house. He's got the money symbol on his avatar. There we go. Thank you for coming over, Storm. I'm gonna look at some of the things that you all are saying in there. We got Victorious is in the house. Thank you, my sister. Let me give you a clap. Thank you, everybody that's here today. Here, as you see on the screen, thank you for coming over. I like that dog avatar. Jackie is in the house too. One of my mods. I want to say that shout out to all the mods in the chat room. You're doing a great job today. Thank you for doing what you're doing and supporting this channel and and just everything that we do over here. But I don't want to get you off of what you were saying, my brother. But do you have any thoughts about what the brother has said right here?
Yeah, absolutely. So think of your life as a football game, right? And I'm gonna just you can even look at it as a basketball game. I know we got the playoffs going on, et cetera, right? I'm gonna use basketball because it's in season. 4 quarters, right? So earlier in the game, you can afford to probably take a few risks, right? So when you're talking about a regular, average, and ordinary person working life, that's probably in your 20s and maybe early 30s, right? You're in your first and second quarters of your working life, right? The goal is to win the game, and winning the game is equivalent to retiring when you want to, with at the bare minimum of how much money you need minimally, and being able to live the lifestyle that you want to live when you reach that age that you want to retire. That's winning the game. So when the brother is talking about risk tolerance, well, a person needs to understand what their risk tolerance is before they start just investing their money in different vehicles. Because, brother, information, man, you just mentioned Bitcoin and day trading, and all of those things are good, especially if you got a system and you know how to do it. But there's still a form of risk that's involved. Now, if you're in your 50s or late 50s, early 60s, and you trying to, get rich quick on the Bitcoin and the NFTs and all of the stuff that's going on that involves some form of risk, then you're doing it wrong. The risk supposed to come earlier on in your life, right? So going back to that financial house and building the foundation. Once you build the foundation, you got your life insurance, you got your emergency fund, and you got your estate plan, your will and trust. Once you get that in order by taking action, that's the foundation. Everything else you can do on top of that. But most people are invested in Bitcoin or was investing in Dogecoin, NFTs, and all of these things that you start to hear about because either you saw it on the news or you saw it here on YouTube or something to that effect. But that same person has no life insurance, or they got a very small amount of money in their emergency fund. Or they have no living will or trust. So even if they do have, imagine this. Imagine having $300,000 in Bitcoin and not having an estate plan like a living will and trust. Who does that money go to?
It doesn't make any sense if you earn all this money, and especially if you have a wife or you have children or someone that you care about, and you don't have your other affairs in order. What I know, if I'm not mistaken, brother, you correct me. If you got some sort of wealth and you don't set this up for family members to get this, you got stuff in the bank. Am I telling the truth or not? Doesn't these assets go to the state that you're living in or to the government? Who takes the money? For example, you got finances. You accumulate this money. You pass away. Even if they use some money to bury your behind, put you in a casket, the whole 9 yards, and you still have this wealth, but you didn't gift it or did not write a will or give it to someone that you say this is the person. Doesn't the state or the feds take that money? Aren't you just giving money to the government?
In so many words, absolutely. That's why I keep harping on the foundation, because that's the example I was given. Imagine you got $500,000 in the stock. I'm gonna just say in the stock market, because that could vary depending on what product it is.
Yes.
Well, you might have a beneficiary with that company. Let's say it's with Wells Fargo or Fidelity or one of those types of companies. You may have a beneficiary, and let's just say the beneficiary was your son or your daughter. And let's say when you pass away, they're over the age of 18. So from a legal standpoint, they can have access to it. Because you didn't have a will or a trust or both.
Wow.
Then that money obviously is within your estate. But in order for it to go from your estate as a deceased person to your child's estate, they got to go through something called probate, which in a nutshell is the government, right? The state, local government. And then that means also there's a nice amount of taxes that's going to come in, especially with those types of vehicles, because there's something called capital gains tax. So you may have put, I'm just throwing number 150,000 in, and it grew to 500,000. Well, the difference between what you put in and what it grew to, that's what you're paying taxes on, called capital gains tax.
Right.
So how do you avoid that? Well, it's part of your estate plan. So once the foundation is set, brothers and sisters, then you can start to do other things from that. Mm-hmm. But we got to get in the mindset: is our financial foundation in order?
Is it solid?
Yeah.
Do we know what we're doing? Are we educating ourselves? Are we talking to people that are professionals?
Yeah, and even if we don't have it, solid. Well, let's just say even if we do have something, because you start small and grow large. We're not expecting you to do everything I'm talking about in one day, but it happens incrementally over time with taking action and being consistent. But you may have a life insurance policy. You may even have a living will. You may have a trust. You may have an emergency fund. But oftentimes we don't get those things checked up. We should go to the doctor and the dentist at least once a year, and the key word is at least.
Right. Let me do some inventory here, because people are sitting in super chats and people are saying great things in the chat room. But let me say, Brother Man sent in I think a great message here. This is why I agree with this point here. Retirement is not sexy. Being rich in the now is sexy. So people, when they're accumulating all their money, because they can take that money and spend it on things and buy nice things and luxury items and travel and, make it rain, as they say, that's sexy. This whole idea of taking money and stuffing it away for a rainy day, such as retirement, or if you were to pass away, that just ain't sexy, because I've lived long enough to know that people live for the day and often don't want to live for tomorrow. People thinking short term versus long term. Where am I going to be? Well, let me think about saving some of this money so that when I get in retirement, I'm not struggling because I spent that. I can't tell you how many people that I've growing up, people who were living all types of lifestyles, whether it be illegal lifestyles growing up as a kid, who made a lot of money doing illegal stuff as well as legitimate stuff, who didn't manage their money properly. And then when they got older, they said, damn, the one thing I regret is that I didn't save some of that money and put it into some type of plan to work for me now. They regret that, whether they're legitimate or illegitimate in their business, right? So I think that's a very good point. Let me say to Empress Queen, who said, tell the truth. Yes, tell the truth, sister.
Tell the truth.
And let me say thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. Make sure y'all subscribe to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Man. Please make sure to subscribe to
Another person that super chatted me is Larry. Everything goes. I'm going to read what people are saying. Here's my man, Larry. Anything Goes LLC. He's a businessman as well. He says financial intelligence is what it's all about, family. Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
And I give you a clap as well. And then I would be totally disrespectful if I did not acknowledge my main brother right here. Everybody is a great supporter of the show. Super chatting me the $100. I appreciate that, brother. Always coming through. I was wondering where you were at too. I was like, wait, man, where is brother Keith Winston? He ain't seen him around in a while, but I think he's working. He has a family, and the brother's always handling his business. He says, my good brother information man show. Hope I'm not too late for the session. Had to come through and show my support. Thank you, my brother. You always show support. That's why I appreciate you 110%. Everybody, please share this video. Like last week, I talked about Nature Boy. Week before that, I talked about Umar Johnson and all of his buffoonery, right? And then I talk about issues that happen in the news and some of the things that go on, more polarizing topics that really bring the people over here, right? But look, we got 77 people watching in the box. When this stream is over, I know this video is going to get a lot more views because that's how my channel is. It gets lots of views after the fact. But share this video on your social media because I think that this is more important than some of those topics that we talked about a few weeks ago in terms of the polarizing stuff. This is important because this is something that affects all of us. Man, woman, and child. What are you doing to prepare yourself as a man, as a father, a mother, a family? In the case you pass away, and you have your affairs in order? What are you thinking about retirement? You know, if you're going to retire, where you want to live? I'm in California, brother Johnny Johnson, and one of the things that people talk about in California is that, you know what? If I retire, maybe I need to move away from California to make my retirement money work better because California has all these high tax rates. In the work that I do, that's what I hear people talking about all the time where I'm at right now. And I myself have been thinking about, you know what, if I retire, I could make my retirement and other things I have work for me even better if I leave California. And that is something that I'm pondering. I don't want to get us too off track, but just as a side note, what are your thoughts about that? Is that something, I don't know if that's something you tell people, but is that something that people need to consider in retirement and looking at where at in the world or in this country could my retirement best benefit me if I had to move from a very expensive place like California where I'm at?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, taxes is getting up there. Historically, taxes are low, and it's been low probably within the last 10, 15 years. But when you're talking about retirement, and I just use that word liability again, like your tax liability in retirement is devastating in itself because that means you got to give Uncle Sam back money that you really need to be using to support yourself.
Right.
But now integrate. What state do you live in? You just mentioned California. Very, very high tax. I live in Chicago, Illinois. Illinois is one of the heaviest taxed states, but I'm nowhere near retirement. I'm only 38 years of age. But if I was in my late 50s, 60s, or 70s, maybe I may want to move to a Florida, or maybe I want to move to a Texas, or maybe I want to move to Nevada, just as 3 examples, because why? Those are locations where the tax scenario is more favorable for people in their retirement. That's why if you move to Boca Raton, Florida, you get very, very wealthy retirees driving Lamborghinis to go to Whole Foods, if you will.
Yes.
Why is that? Well, they're in a tax favorite location from a retirement standpoint. So obviously, at the end of the day, you want to do what it is that you want to do. But to your point, understanding what type of money you're going to have in your latter years for retirement, and knowing that you want to keep all or at least most of it is going to determine where you're ultimately going to live at that point in your life. So you have to take that in consideration. And yes, I do talk to my clients that may be in that part of their life about relocation and alleviating taxes, etc., if they have vehicles that will be taxed heavily once they get to that part of their life.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Michael Ross, thank you for coming through. Everybody's coming through. It looks like my audience is coming through a little bit later as we're going, but I'm glad to see people are coming through. And a lot of people, once again, share this video in your social media, folks, when you have an opportunity. And thank you, my sister, for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Sister Boo, I'm bad with pronouncing people's names, but sister gave me a $50 super chat here, which I appreciate. She says this: please speak on the 529S if you have time. It's definitely a underutilized educational tool in our community, starting with $50 per month, starting at a birth, adds up over time. Excuse me, folks. Now, brother, are you able to speak upon what the sister is saying here? And thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate you, sister.
Absolutely. So with the 529s, very, very good vehicle, right? And if you have access to a 529, that should be one of the vehicles that you should be using for your son or daughter's college education. It shouldn't be the only vehicle. And I'm going to give you some reasons why in a second.
Okay.
Right? But 529, solid vehicle, right? But once again, we always talking apples to apples. So think of 529 as a 401k at your job. They work similar in nature. Once again, a 529, just like a 401k, is a section of IRS tax code on how money is taxed. So with this particular vehicle, it's all about the taxation of the money from educational purposes for the young people, right? So now you're asking yourself this: well, if you're putting in $50, $100 a month or whatever that amount may be, can I lose any money? The answer is yes. So think about this. Okay, well, if I'm saving and investing money for my son or daughter to go to college, do I want to be in a position to lose any money? The answer probably should be no, right?
Right.
But it does give you benefits similar to how 401k gives you benefits. But when you're talking about from an overall standpoint, 529 could be good, but now you got to ask yourself this question. Well, what if your son or daughter doesn't go to college?
Uh-oh.
Because that's a real question. Am I pro college? Yes.
Tell the truth.
I got a degree. Obviously, I had $75,000 in student loan debt. Then I'm almost exonerated my debt for that particular entity.
Yes.
But why am I saying that? Well, most oftentimes, and this is just through my interacting with students and parents and understanding people my age and maybe a little bit older. Most young people, especially when they were going through college like me, probably about 50 to 60% of them actually went to college to please their mom, dad, grandparents, guardians, not because they really wanted to go. Remember, I talked earlier about what? Creatures of habit.
Creatures of habit.
We know to go to college because why? Mom and dad told us to go there. Grandparents told us to go there, etc. So you got four options primarily that I give to all of the students when I interview them to be in a position to see if I will recommend them to get free money for college. Obviously, college is one. So 529 will be good if the student is going to college. But you got other options. What would the other options be? Well, you can go into the military and then go to college afterwards, possibly. So you got obviously different branches of the armed forces. Number three, which is very, very prevalent in today's society, is trade schools.
Trade schools.
Right? You got carpenters and welders and engineers and a whole bunch of other people that do different trade. HVAC, right?
Oh, no.
I'm just saying.
Hey, no, the reason why, when you said the word HVAC, because I've been following this dude, Umar Johnson, who's been lying to people about the HVAC at that school.
Yeah.
Just, it's a side note. It's an inside joke that most of the people in the chat room that follow me know when you said the word HVAC. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, those involve you going to some type of trade school, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. You get a license or you get some type of certification that would allow you to get into that type of career if that's what your angle is, right?
Right.
And then the fourth option would be just to go out and get a regular job, 9 to 5, until you can figure out what you want to do as a career. Now, there's a difference between a job and a career, right? A job is kind of like a Band-Aid or a placeholder people work jobs, but you're really looking for a career, right? And until you find a career, you want to keep your job by all means, right? But when we're talking about young people, we have to find out what they want to do. We can't put what it is that we should have did or could have did or would have did on them. They have to live their life the best way they know how. We as parents need to just give them the tools and the education so that they can make the best decision when they get to that point in their life, right?
Yes, sir.
So back to the sister scenario about the 529. Solid vehicle, you can lose money in it, but you also got some tax benefits that can do some things while you're in your working years. But now you got to ask yourself, well, if a 529 may not be the best vehicle, where should I be investing my money in for my son or my daughter to go to college? Would you be interested to know that life insurance could be one of those vehicles? Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that because I distribute life insurance. I'd be saying it if I wasn't distributing life insurance. I just happen to be a licensed person that knows these behind the scene things that maybe the average person may not know, but need to know. Right? So within a life insurance permanent policy, that obviously you got a death benefit if a person passes away, but that wouldn't be the reason that you're actually getting it. But that's the foundational part of that product. You're getting it because the cash value, because of the interest, right? So let's say your average interest is 6%, hypothetically. So that means when the market goes up, on average, you're earning about 6%. But guess what? In the negative years, which we can't predict positive or negative returns, in the permanent life insurance policy, you lose no cash value. In the 529, you can lose money just like you can gain money, similar to what? A 401k. So that means if you're comparing apples to apples, then you may want to have a 529 and a permanent life insurance policy so you can really get more bang for your buck, so to speak.
So there's still risk. There's still, at the end of the day, there's still risk involved that you have to be aware of. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me do this, my brother.
Let me just say this just for
Go ahead.
on this topic. When you get ready to fill out the the free application for financial student assistance,
Yes.
the fall before your son or daughter goes to college, that next following fall, they're going to look at all of your assets, right?
Right.
When you have, let's say you got $100,000 in your permanent life insurance cash value, and let's say you got $100,000 in your 529. Well, your federal Pell Grant for your son or daughter the next following school year, what they call the EFT, the estimated family contribution, is going to be more with a 529 than it would be with the permanent life insurance policy. But from a tax standpoint and from a usage standpoint, you can use the money more effectively inside of a permanent life insurance policy than you can in a 529, because you can use it for all four of those things that I just mentioned. They want to go to college, you can take some money out, fund portion of their college so they don't incur student loan debt. They go to the military, that money just continuously growing until they become an adult and, financially be able to be responsible for it. Trade school, once they finish their situation, let's say it's taking 36 months, now they got some money because mom and dad been saving since they was born that they can use to do what? They want to start I ain't gonna use the HVAC because you just mentioned it. They may want to start an HVAC business, right? Or they may want to start a general contracting business. Well, you need capital to start a business, true?
Right, true.
Absolutely. And then last but not least, you obviously got them just going out and working and just trying to get a feel for what they want to do. Well, you can never save and invest as much money as you want to.
Let me just say this right here. Thank you for breaking it down. C. Lee Boo. Thank you if I'm saying that correctly. But once again, sister, I thank you again for the super chat that you gave me, and I really appreciate that. But now let me do this because I appreciate Empress Queen for her super chat. I appreciate once again Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, gave me a super chat as well. I'm just going through an inventory list. Keith Winston gave me another super chat, and Michael Ross gave me a super chat. Larry Anything Goes LLC gave a super chat today, supporting the show, and everything you've given is going back into the show, folks. There's no doubt about that. I go put everything back into the show. She asked a very excellent question. C. Boo gave a great breakdown she gave us an area to go with, which I really appreciate that. And then I want to go to Michael Ross, who's been supporting the channel as well. Thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it a lot.
Thank you for the super chat.
And then I want to go back down because brother Keith Weston gave me another super chat, and he asked this question. By the way, Information Man Show, I've been meaning to ask, not to take away from today's conversation, but would you even consider having Maurice Dixon on the show? Maurice Dixon on the show for an interview? Yeah, I'm definitely interested in interviewing someone like him, as well as our man over there, Tim Black. There's many people that I'm going to be knocking on their door to interview. Just everything one step at a time, because this is a weekly show. So I don't go live all the time unless there's an emergency situation that we're going to be talking about. But yes, I'm open to that. If you have a way to reach that brother, let me know. I'm open to connecting with anyone who is bringing information that our people most need. Michael Ross, thank you again. We've got Meet Me Later 13. Thank you for coming over. Empress Kia, thank you again. We have the Express Queen in the house. Again, I really appreciate everybody that's come over. Make sure, again, Back to the Basics is in the house. Make sure, again, that you share the video. Natural's in the house as well. I'm trying to see if I missed anybody that was here. We got the real Aaron Collins who came over. Thank you, Sister French. If the system if the system crashes, how will all of this change? It's a hypothetical question. If the system crashes, I'm going to tell you right now, we're all going to be in trouble. Look at how we were in trouble during this monster that was people were catching, right? Look at what happened when people weren't able to work, when they had to shut everything down. It hurt our economic system. We have businesses that don't exist, my sister. So if the system crashed, we're all in trouble, and that includes you as well. There's no getting around it. You can call it the belly of the beast. You can call it Babylon. But if we're born here in America and we're paying taxes and we're living in this world and in this system, anything that goes wrong in this system will have a trickle down effect on you and me. See, I remember I lived through Ronald Reagan and his so-called trickle down economics. It hurt a lot of us. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. When you talk about the system, you're also talking about yourself, because even if you don't believe that you're a part of the system, when it breaks down, you're going to be impacted. One of the things we have to understand is that we are not alone on this world, because it's a global economic system. Look, the reason why gasoline is so high is because of what's happening over there in Ukraine. But then again, gasoline was already going up high because these gas prospectors will put a price on the gas. And you already saw what happened. They went to Washington. They were trying to get the gas executives to lower gas prices, and they wouldn't move an inch. And guess who that affects? Me and you, because we got to get up and drive to go to work, get our kids to school, and it hurts you. I'm telling you right now, Brother Johnny Johnson, look, I make pretty good, decent money myself, but I got to be on. I have to commute back and forth to the JOB. What I do for a living, I work as a mental health therapist. And I'm telling you right now, the gas prices and the prices of inflation and the price of food, it is having an impact even on me. And I make a pretty decent salary to take care of myself, but it's impacting me too. So if it's impacting me, you can imagine what it's doing to people who make less money. We're all impacted one way or another.
Absolutely. Let me interject real quick, because
yes, sir.
The sister asked an interesting question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna address her question, but I am gonna give us a way to kind of look at it, right?
Yes, sir.
Think of the word she used, system. If the system crashes, right? Well, there's an acronym, and some of you all probably have heard of this acronym before. Some of you all may not. System stands for Save Yourself Time, Energy, and Money. Right?
Give it to us. Truth.
Right? So think about this. A lot of my conversations, along with everything else we've been talking about this afternoon, but a lot of my conversations are wrapped around how I can use my expertise and my 9+ years of financial experience to help people become their own bank. In a nutshell, what? Become their own financial system. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I spend a lot of time having those conversations because A, it's a hot topic, just like a lot of other things are. But
Yes.
but B, most people don't know where to start that process. People would love to become their own bank if they knew the strategic way to do it.
Facts.
So a lot of my conversations are wrapped around that, right? So just some information to give you all, just so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. If you're working a job, keep your job. This has nothing to do with that. But find a way to start a business or become a 1099 independent contractor or some form of an entrepreneur. Why is that? In America, there's two type of tax systems. You got tax systems for people who work a job, and you
Yes.
got tax systems for people who run businesses, whether it's small, medium, large, or they're just 1099 independent contractors. So first and foremost, do that so you can put yourself in that tax bracket. Because why? You got tax exemptions, you got tax write-offs, and you got tax favorable things that you can do once you've established yourself as a business, meaning you got an LLC, a S corp, a C corp, and you got an EIN number from your state in which your business is um is located in, or state in which you're doing business out of, if you will. So you want to start there, right? So if you make $100,000 at your job, but you're just getting your business going, but you got everything of your business taken care of. You got incorporation papers, you got EIN numbers, you got the name of your business, you got a business bank account. But
Yes.
let's say you haven't made $1 in your business. When you get ready to file your business, excuse me, when you get ready to file your taxes next year for what you do this year,
Yes.
you'll be able to get the different exemptions and write-offs and tax favored treatments because you've established yourself as a business owner, even though you haven't made $1. Now imagine if you made some money, that's obviously more beneficial for you. But just having that in place puts you in a different scenario altogether.
All together.
Right? So if you don't have that, rule of advice, get that taken care of. If you want some more information, obviously you're going to get my contact information. We can talk about that. But
Okay.
now, become your own bank. What does that look like? Well, a bank is a business. So why am I talking to you about a business? If you want to become your own bank, you need to be a business,
Facts.
right? And then
Hey,
you need
that's
to
true.
start moving like a bank does, right? So why am I saying that? Well, every day at 2 o'clock, Monday through Friday, all banks, all credit unions, it doesn't matter the name of it, whatever. They take our account values out of their accounts and they invested into the stock market. But guess what they invested in primarily? Life insurance. He's like, here you go with this life insurance again.
A is very important.
But if you don't know the rules of the game, how can you play the game effectively? Right? If I was playing basketball, but I didn't know I needed to shoot the ball in the hoop, and all I was doing was dribbling, that means what? I don't know the rules of the game.
Right.
So if you want to play the game, you got to understand the rules and how to work the rules into your favor so that you can do what? Not only play the game, but ultimately win the game. Right? So become your own bank. Get you a business, put that in place. Now you start to make revenue in your business. It doesn't matter if you got a barber shop, if you sell clothes online, if you got a landscaping company, if you distribute products, it doesn't matter what your business does. Start the business. Don't be afraid to start the business because guess what? You miss 100% of shots you don't shoot. So if you don't actually do what you're trying to do, you're never going to do it. You can think about it till you blue in the face. You got to take action, right? Becoming a bank. Excuse me, becoming your own bank. If the stock market, excuse me, if the banks, Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever the name of the bank is, BOA, BMO Harris, whatever, PNC, if they invest their money, or really, which is our money, in the stock market and life insurance companies, why shouldn't we do the same thing?
Right.
We don't do the same thing because we don't know to do that. It's never been a conversation that's been had at the family reunion or on Sunday dinner when we're around 15 family members. We're not having this conversation, but we're talking about Kanye and Kim Kardashian.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the award show a couple weeks ago. We're talking about those things, but we're not talking about ways to get us from where we are to where we're going.
Right.
But
And I bet you Will Smith
got
and
those
even
things.
Chris Rock, I bet you they got retirement plans. I bet you they got life insurance. I bet you they got a plan. You know, of course they make a lot of money, but I'm sure that I would be very surprised if both these guys, you know, it's unfortunate what happened, but I think Will Smith and Chris Rock are pretty savvy individuals. I'd be surprised if they didn't have either some kind of life insurance or some kind of plan with their money. You know, however, we do know that there are celebrities and we know people who pass away and then a mess is left behind because they didn't get their estate in order. But there are some that do have their business in order.
Yeah.
There are some that do have their business in order. Let me go ahead and do this real quick, my brother. And like we had said earlier, we're definitely going to have you come back again to get into the meat and potatoes. But let me say back to the basics. Thank you, my sister. I know everybody give back to the basics some love. She had she lost a family member, her mom. So I want you all to give her prayers, give her love in the chat room. And she said here, what you all guess recommend. Would our guests recommend following Dave Ramsey, 7 baby steps to financial wealth? If so or not, what steps should an individual take building savings, credit, and generating wealth? Thank you, Kings. Bless you.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, as much information as you can receive, take full advantage of it, right? But then you have to start simplifying it for you, right? So
Right.
what steps could you take to, you know, save and invest more money and build wealth, generational, etc.? Well, first and foremost, you have to take a look at where you are right now, right? Today is May 1st, 2022, right? What is your scenario look like right now? So you have to do what? An autopsy financially of where you are right now. And then you have to see where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, right? Because everybody has strengths and weaknesses, it's just natural. But the question is, there's a saying that I use with all my clients: the knowledge of the problem is the key to the solution. So you have to acknowledge that you have a problem or issue. And then once you acknowledge that, that's going to help you to be in a position to solve it. Most people are just in denial that they have a problem. Meaning what? If you bring, I'm just using a general number, $5,000 a month. If you bring home $5,000 a month and you get $3,000 worth of expenses and expenditures, also known as bills, simple math tells us you get $2,000 left over, or at least you should, right? So when you meet with me, whether we're doing it face to face, if you're in the Chicagoland area, or if you're not, and we get on Zoom or some, video messaging mechanism, and we talk this same talk, right?
Yes.
Well, if I say, well, you should have about $2,000 left over, and you say, nah, well, I got about 500. Okay, first we need to identify, well, where is this additional $1,500 going that you can't account for? And then once we figure out where it is, now we have to look at, well, what are you using it for? Because if you're trying to accomplish certain things financially and you don't even know where a simple thing like $1,500 is going, but you make that type of money every month and you should have it left over after you take care of your expenses, that's an initial problem. So for every client that I come in contact with, I give them a free financial analysis, or what we call a financial review of what they currently got going on. Keep in mind, I do it for free because guess what? If I'm just coming in contact with a client, even if the client was referred to me, they still don't know what I can do for them. So they're just going out on faith, either because somebody referred me to them, or we met at an event, or we met on social media, or we met through LinkedIn or something to that effect. But the same financial analysis and free fact finder that I give to my clients, you can go to an Edward Jones or a Merrill Lynch or some company like that, and they're going to charge you anywhere from $500 to $2,500 to get the same information from you to help you start a plan.
Okay.
So ask yourself this question: do you want to spend that type of money on that, or is somebody like myself can provide you with the same type of information and definitely the utmost service? Because once again, I'm somebody's client when I'm not helping my client. So I'm going to give you what I want to receive in return, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's do this here, because we definitely have to have you come back for another round of this to go more to go deeper and deeper into this. But I want you to do this because I'm definitely going to have to put extra information in the description of this video. I want you, if you feel comfortable, to let people know where they can find you, where they can get in contact with you. I know you are on Facebook as well. So those of you out there who have Facebook as well, I believe his Facebook is Johnny Johnson. But let people know, if you're on social media, whether you've got Twitch and any other, Twitter or Instagram, what other social medias you may be on, your business card information, because definitely I'm going to need to get some additional information from you to put in the description of this video now, or at least a way for people to be able to contact you direct, because there's people that are possibly going to listen to this video on top of the people that are in the chat room that are going to say, you know what, let me get this brother a call. And because I'm in the Chicago area, and if I'm not in the Chicago area, maybe do you help people remotely? Like if they don't live in your area, is it still, are they still able to get services from you?
Absolutely. Nationwide, it doesn't matter where you are in the country. We got you taken care of.
Okay, go ahead right now. Let everybody know how they can get in contact with you, where they can find you.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna always start off with my number, because obviously call and text me, that's a direct way for you to get in contact with me.
Well, let me do this, brother. Yeah. This is what I'm gonna do real quick. All I need you to do is put that number out. I'm gonna say the number, and then I'm gonna write it and put it up on the screen as a label. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this properly. Say the number slowly.
Yes, 708.
70708. That's the area code.
Right.
Okay.
317. 8800.
8800. All right. Now I'm going to do some magic here. I'm going to pop this in here. So right there is the number 708-317-8800. Is that your business number, brother?
Yes, indeed. You can call me and you can send me text message directly at that number.
Okay. So there it is, folks. There is his business number, as you can see there, 708-317-8800. Don't worry, because I'm going to put that number, if you're fine with that, in the description of the video, because there'll be more people that will watch this and they may want to get in contact with you. Now, how can they find you if you're comfortable on social media? If you rather than just call the number, just let us know that too. Yeah, or if not, just name your social media.
Yeah, you can contact me at my number, but I got social media, Facebook, just my first and last name, Johnny. And my first name is unique because I am a junior. So that's the way my dad spelled his. So it's Johney. And then Johnson is spelled the regular way, Johnsson. You can also find me with that same first and last name on LinkedIn, right? And then I'm also on Instagram, and my username on Instagram is my first name, Johnny, Johney, Cash, K as in kite, A as in alpha, S as in Sam, H as in Henry, 06.
Okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your LinkedIn, and I actually, just so you know, before we went live, I did send this stream into this video into LinkedIn. So people on LinkedIn that follow me will be able to watch this as well. But I'm going to put your LinkedIn and the number, all of that will be embedded in the description of this video. So when people wonder, well, how can I get in contact with this brother? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this video, when you hear the repeat, it's going to be in the description of the video. Look down in the description. You'll see his LinkedIn as well as the number. I have to say this. Let people know that on Facebook, you do go live on Facebook and talk about these matters. So if you're wondering, well, where can I also hear of him again? Video, because people like video nowadays. They respond to it. He, on his Facebook page, he goes live, and you can follow him and hit all bells so that when he goes live and he begins to talk about these things further on Facebook, you can listen in and watch what the brother is talking about and support him. So that's the way to go here. Let me look in the chat room and see what people are saying here. Before we end this, brother, I know you do work with the youth. Can you remind people, or not remind people, but let people know the things that you're doing with our youth, particularly our Black youth?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just as a brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, we obviously are big on mentoring the young men that's coming behind us to make sure that they are coming into the situation the right way. So obviously I do mentoring, through the chapter here in Chicago. But what I'm big on doing is sharing with young people ways that they can understand the mentality of money. So I was at my old high school this past Friday, and we were doing an all class alumni career day. And so when I was talking to the young people, we talking freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school, one of the questions that they asked me, a lot of them asked me the same question, but they said, well, what's your biggest challenge in your profession and what you do on a day in and day out basis? And my answer was helping people to understand the mentality of money and business, because those two things are all about mentality, right? So if your mentality is not in the right place, you're going to have money issues. You're going to have business issues. But if your mentality is centered and in the right place, and you can focus on what you need to accomplish, both financially as well as business related, over a period of time, you're going to start to see the fruits of your labor, right? So I'm big on educating the young people about making sure that they can understand finance in a very simplistic way. I'm not talking over the head. I'm not talking at them. I'm talking to them and with them, right? So that they can understand, hey, this gentleman is here to help me. Because whether they hear me once or they hear me multiple times, the goal is for them to get the information and then be able to take action on it at some point in their life, right?
Right. Well, French my sister says, I will definitely share the video. Thank you. If anyone's listening out there and you're new to the channel, you just discovered this channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
And I need you to do me the biggest favor. I need y'all to share this video so more people see it in your social media. And if you are if you're interested in hearing more from this brother, getting his professional analysis on what you should do when it comes to retirement and your financial fitness, give him a call and see what services he can provide you, especially if you're in the Chicago area. And even if you're not in the Chicago area, I think you should give him a ring and check him out on social media, because he does go, like I said, he does go live on the social media and he talks about these particular matters. Brother,
with that real quick, I just want to interject.
Go ahead. If there's anything I said wrong, go ahead and correct it.
No, you're good. But on Facebook, I go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for Financial Education Fridays with Johnny Cash, which is me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So every Friday. Now, remember, he's in Central Time. You're in Chicago.
Right.
So just calculate that for whatever, wherever you live, whether it's the West Coast, East Coast, South, what have you. And you go live over on Facebook. Absolutely. So I would just say, everybody, try to find a brother. And what I'll do to make it also easier for people, I'm going to put your Facebook, if you don't mind. I'll put your Facebook link in the description, your LinkedIn, and the number to your business in the description of this video. So if any of you, for whatever reason, can't find the brother, all you have to do is come back to this video, Soon as I end this live, just give me a little bit of time to come back and embed this information in the description. And and then you come back to the video periodically and you check it and see, and then you can just click into it, and then voila, you can connect to them like so. So I want you all to do that. If you have questions for the brother personally, or if you just want to follow him on social media and check in on what he's saying when he goes live about financial matters. Before we end this, brother, is there anything before you leave the good folks here? Is there anything you want to leave with folks before we end it? Is there anything important you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, I know there's a lot of information that's always out there, and obviously you can Google and YouTube a whole bunch of topics, but I really want to encourage people, especially if it's already on your mind. If it's already on your mind, that means what you're thinking about it. Take action, right? The biggest mistake a person can make is to say that they heard about something but don't take action and following up so that they can get some things in place for themselves.
Yes.
So I just want to leave you all with taking action. Obviously, you can reach out to me. Information Man is obviously going to provide you with my contact information, and I've just provided it to you on this particular live video. But reach out to me. I'm an open book. I'm very transparent. I'm a very professional person. And at the end of the day, I'm here to help you. I do this for free. Luckily, I get paid to do what I do and have the conversations that I have, but I would do it for free. Why? Because I'm the type of person that just wants to get the information to the people. That's one of my God-given talents, to be able to take information that I learn and share with people. It doesn't matter if they're older than me, my age, or younger than me. It's about sharing the information so a person can understand it, simplify it, and then for them to be able to take readily action on it. So that's what I would leave with.
Well, make sure you do this too, brother. You said a lot of gems today. Make sure that you yourself share this video and pass it on to people, because I think this video is great PR. It's great marketing for what you do. And because we live, and I know this, I've been doing this for a while now, because social media, live streaming is becoming powerful. There's a lot of power when you have a digital product, a digital marketing in this case, where you're actually telling people, this is what I do in this type of format. It is very powerful. So, because I know I'm going to be pushing this video all over Facebook. We have a lot of brothers in all these different alpha groups. I pushed it to some of those groups today, but I'm going to be pushing it even more heavily in those particular groups amongst our brotherhood, because they need to be sharing this in their social media as well, to get the word out. Because like we always say, there goes an alpha man. You're doing the work. And I appreciate you coming on board here. My channel, what I try to do over here is try to give people information that can benefit them, that can help them. I don't often like to traffic in a lot of nonsense and shenanigans, and people know that over here. We should be using our social media to empower our people, to educate people, to inspire. Because if we're not, of course, there's people that get on social media that use it to have fun and entertain. That's okay. We understand that. But I think overall, what are we doing with these platforms if we're not using them to empower people and to help people? What's the point?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I got on YouTube in particular. And I do podcasts. Now, what I'm probably going to do, because I usually separate my content from this channel from my podcasting, radio style podcast, I'm probably going to distribute this recording into my radio podcast and distribute that as well, because the information is too valuable. So now you're not only getting the bonus of YouTube audience, but I have an audience that primarily listens to me on Spotify, iHeartRadio podcasts, and the Google podcasts, and all this stuff out there. What's that? The other one, the Apple podcast. I'm all over this stuff. So we're gonna take the audio from this and purpose it over there. So now people have an audio record of this, as well. I think it's most important to do that in this particular case. So I appreciate you for coming on board. Again, let me give you a clap, my brother. And we'll do this again because I'm sure that there's other areas that you wanted to get into that we didn't get into yet, because this is the way it works over here, brother. My audience is going to ask questions. I'm going to have to cut in sometimes and get those questions that they have answered. So I try not to make it this sort of, robotic, make it a very organic experience, because people have questions. And as you can see, they had a lot to ask you. And I'm sure when we come back and do this again, we can touch on some other areas of what you do. Absolutely. And out in Chicago and Chi-Town and what have you.
Yeah. And if I can just interject one more time.
Yes, sir.
When it comes at the very end of the day to never running out of money in your lifetime, when it comes to making sure your foundation is set from a financial standpoint and your family standpoint is concerned.
Yes.
And when it comes to making sure you have what you need short term as well as long term, then you want to definitely reach out to me, because that's where my expertise comes from.
Okay, so let's say this again. I want you to repeat that so that people know what they're getting from you. You're talking about long term and short term. Repeat that, brother.
Yeah. So never running out of money for the rest of your life. If that's something that interests you, I'm somebody you want to talk to. Making sure you're taking care of short term, going into your long term financial future. Obviously, we want to talk. And ultimately being in a position to make sure that your personal financial house, especially your foundation, is set correctly. That's where my expertise lies. And it's all about having that conversation. So when we have that initial conversation, I can find out where you are and where you're trying to go. And then I'm like the GPS. When you type the destination in, you want to get to wherever you're going. We're going to start where you are. And then over a period of time, I'm going to be your GPS to help you navigate to get you to your ultimate goals and dreams.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Once again, that's brother Mr. Johnny Johnson. He's brought it strong today, ladies and gentlemen, talking about financial fitness. And he particularly specializes in the areas of retirement. Like you see, like he just said, if you come up with the ideology that you don't want to be without money, like he said, he can work with you to bring that to somewhat of a reality, but you've got to be able to work with him. You got to be realistic as well. And this is the key thing this brother said today, which is when you open up a 401k plan, they never ask you, when would you like to retire? That was a key thing he said today. So I want people to take heed on that. Again, brother, once again, gems that you put out here. And so, brother, you take care. I'll be in contact with you. If there's any information you want to send me that you want me to put in the description, go right ahead. But I'll find you on LinkedIn. I already have you on Facebook, so I'll put all that in stuff. I'll embed that into the system as soon as possible. So thank you for being here, brother, once again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And take care of yourself. I really appreciate that, my brother.
Thank
and
you.
There it is again. There it is again, ladies and gentlemen, brother Johnny Johnson. I hope you enjoy the information today. That's right, French wee. Over here, there is no nonsense. Now, we do get into polarizing issues around what's happening to black folks in this country, whether it be the police. Last week, get that out of there, that nonsense out of there. Block that out of there as soon as possible. Thank you. That's been going around YouTube lately, where you get this sort of nonsense inside your chat room. And I wish YouTube would do something about it. I don't know why YouTube is allowing these bots like this to be around YouTube doing this to our channels, coming in here with those kind of messages. They can figure out how to shut your channel down or to censor you when they don't like something that you say. But somehow they haven't done anything about those bots that keep coming into people's chat room. I don't understand. So I want to thank everybody out there watching in Facebook, Twitch, watching in the BS3 network. Thank you out there. BS3 Network by way of Roku TV. If you're watching in Facebook and Twitch and Roku TV, why don't you do the greatest thing you could do and come over to the YouTube channel, Information Man Show on YouTube, and subscribe.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Definitely subscribe and be a part of the family here. Be a part of what we've got going on. I really appreciate you out there as I'm about to break away. I appreciate all the super chats that I received today.
Thank you for the super
Everyone
chat.
was very generous. It goes back into the show. It really feels good because it lets me know that I'm doing something that's resonating with people. People are enjoying the content, and it just makes me continue doing the content like that. You never know what you're going to get with the channel. One week I could be talking about something like I did with Nature Boy, or 1 minute I can be having a show where you have someone who's a professional like Mr. Johnny Johnson talking about finances as it relates to retirement or something else. I had Point Blank's Travel on that was talking about how you can benefit from credit cards and what have you, and the rewards plans on credit cards without the credit cards hurting you. Make your money work for you instead of your money manipulating you. So I want to thank everyone in the chat room. From brother Keith Weston to RY to Indian Exposed Investigations. Last call is here. Thank you for coming over. We got H&H for coming over. Thank you for coming over. French Wee Wee, Miss Fugo. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but let me put this on the screen because this sister has been in the chat room. I appreciate you. She says, great live. You are great, sister. You are great. Now, I need you to do me the biggest favor, and that is if you got social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is you have, share this in your social media, this video. Share this in your community tabs if you're a content creator. That's how you grow these type of channels. That's how you get the content out there. Because I'm going to be honest with you, YouTube suppresses even this type of content when it comes from us. See, they would rather me do content where I've got people over here doxing each other, talking bad about each other, the whole gender war nonsense and the divestment nonsense. They would rather me do that. That's why they suppress my numbers. Now, last week I had about 300, 400 people over here when I was talking about Umar Johnson and talking about Nature Boy. I understand because people like that type of content because it's polarizing, it's innuendo, it's gossip and all that kind of stuff. People really love that. And that brings out a lot of people. But the truth of the matter is there should have been more people over here because the brother was dropping some gems for us. This is a chance for us to learn. Black people, more than anybody, we need to be more financially literate. We need to be more focused on providing retirement plans for our families, understanding what we want to do in retirement if you're in a situation where you can retire, because we know we're living in a world where retirement is very difficult because wages are stagnant. Food and eggs and bacon and all this stuff is going up in price. Gas is too damn expensive and the rent is too damn expensive.
Tell the truth.
So that's impacting us, making it more difficult. And as the brother said, generational wealth basically means your ability to leave something from the next generation, for the next generation after generation after generation. And they say that having a home, a house, is the way you can build wealth. Yeah, it's one way, real estate. We know that African-American people in this country were not giving a fair shot from the very beginning, which has put us behind a lot and where we should be in terms of our generational wealth. But whatever, if you're making good money now, do something to prepare it for your family. If you got, gentlemen, if you got children, you need to open up an insurance policy to protect your family in the long run. You never know what day, what hour that your time is up. Tristan, thank you for coming over. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Do me the biggest favor, because I've got about 407 people on the other channel, the content channel, the Info Media Live channel that's pinned up at the top of this chat room. I want those numbers to keep going up every time I go live over here. If you are interested in watching a channel that talks about how to build a YouTube channel, how to build engagement, if you're interested in creating a YouTube channel yourself and you want to know some of the tips and tricks and strategies, I'm already doing that on that channel. I know that there's people out there who do this sort of stuff, but I'm giving you a unique twist and telling you things that they won't tell you, or they're not going to tell you. I'm inspired by my brother, Liberto Blake. I've been watching his channel for years, and so part of why I created this channel is because he inspires me. I think he always says, create something great. So if you're interested in creating a YouTube channel, or you're a person who wants to improve your YouTube channel, or if you're just a person who's curious to understand the behind the scenes process of how we build a YouTube channel, you just want to ear hustle, you just want to know just because you want to know, then go up to the top of that right now and subscribe to Info Media Live. That's my other channel. If you ever see Info Media Live, it's me. The channel is already going. Now over there, I'm not doing politics, none of that kind of stuff. It's a fun channel and it's open to all groups of people. It's one of those channels that will attract all races and creeds of people. All the content over there is evergreen, which means it'll keep growing and growing and growing and growing because it's not trendy topics. It's all searchable content. The thumbnails that you're seeing over there are none like you've ever seen from me. So I call it a channel that's more of a quote unquote, a channel that YouTube technically would like all of us to originally be doing, and not all this politics stuff. So it's a channel that it's fun for me to be able to talk about YouTube and content creations, microphones, mix boards. What's the best this to use, best that to use? What are some of the tricks and secrets of how you build your channel, how you build a following, how you have people find your channel in the algorithms? Now today, I already know that this topic was not going to bring people out, because what was the topic? The topic was, are you financially well? Let's talk to a financial director. That's not sexy, because a lot of people, quiet as it's kept, they don't want to deal with some of their financial ills and problems or what they're not doing. So this is not a topic that's going to bring a lot of people out, because some people either feel that, hey, I already know about my finances, or they don't really want to deal with it. I get it. It's not a sexy topic today compared to other topics that I've talked about where people come out in droves for. I get it. But I hope that this video will grow with time, because the information was just too damn important.
Tell the truth.
Who knows, next week, I might have a more exciting topic that really gets the juices flowing for people to get over here in larger numbers. And I'm sure that there'll be a topic that I'll be talking about next week that will really get people like, I can't wait to see what Info is going to say about this one. And that's okay. I get it. That's the way YouTube is. We like the car crash. We like the bam, bam. I get it. I like the car crash sometimes too. I ain't going to lie. So thank you again. Share the video. Everybody in the audience, I'm going to give you one big giant clap. There we go. So I want to thank you, everybody out there, for watching. You can see I'm on an iPhone right now, sitting on someone's desk that's watching the program. Once again, we're going to get out of here, and you are the best out there, your best audience that anybody could ask for. And I'll be back with more presentation. Like I said, again, subscribe to the Info Media Live. That channel's growing organically. Once I get to 500 subscribers over there, then I'll have a community tab. So I'm going to get to 1,000 step by step at a time. That channel is actually ahead of where this channel was when I first started this channel some years ago, because I'm doing everything right that I didn't do on this channel in the beginning. And I'm looking at the numbers over there for a young channel. It's doing pretty well for where it is right now, which is very surprising. And I'm happy with that. So everybody take care of yourself. And I'm out of here. Peace.
Tell the truth.
Love you all.
You are listening to
Tell the truth.
Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show. Take care, everybody. Woo!
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel. Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Ice. Yeah.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.